Today we're going to try to resolve all the clearance issues with the engine and transmission.
So I've been trying to get stuff resolved with the engine and its placement, you know, opening up for the drive system, some of the clearance issues in the back, and, you know, even dealing with the harmonic balancer. And it's just not something I could do while it's in the car 100%. So, and, you know, I work for the last like 2.5 years, I've been working 60, 80 hour weeks. And so I do all this in my spare time. And, you know, Wednesday night at 6 p.m. is not something where I'm going to float the engine and hopefully by the end of the night, you know, get everything dialed in and put back in. It's just too stressful for me knowing that I have to be at work the next morning and, you know, my engine lift's going to drift and that engine's going to slowly sink over time. And, you know, it's stuff that I just don't want to deal with. It kind of stresses me out. So it's a Sunday morning, it's early, and I got a bunch of stuff I'm going to do while I pull this engine and move it a little bit. I'm not pulling it fully out of the car. And what I'm going to do to set myself up for success is I'm going to make little stations. And, you know, this station will be the cutting station all ready to go. And then this is the, you know, trim the back end area. And here's the paint, here's the brush, here's everything I need for that. And then here's the, you know, fix the webbing area of the engine. And it has all the right sockets and everything and the right paint and brush. And so I'm just going to create these little stations. So as I go through this process, I could just go bam, 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 and I'm not sitting there screwing around trying to figure out what socket size this is. And I think that's just going to make it a lot more efficient. It's going to make me feel a little bit less stressed out while I'm doing it. Since I will have a little bit of help, but you know, it's a different time these days, so everybody's kind of keeping their distance. And so I'm just trying to make this easy so as a quasi-solo operation, I could get through this without, you know, too many complications. So let me show you what we're going to be doing today.
We need to remove all this, and then we're going to raise the engine up a little bit because we need to finish cutting this area. And that area is pretty much cut, but we need to, you know, clean it up. And then I want to paint that, you know, get it all nice. This needs to come out. We need to remove these off of here. We need to take the lift over there, get this engine mounted, remove the wheels, tires, and start floating this thing. And then we're gonna get this webbing figured out. Then we're gonna get all the spacing here figured out. We are gonna get this finished, get this harmonic balancer on correctly, and then hopefully have this engine, you know, back to its original position that it should be in, which will give us clearance for our drive system and clearance over here. And, you know, as I say this, it seems like it's only a few steps, but we're floating a 750-pound engine in a tight space. And so it's not the easiest thing to do to be lining up these pins and stuff like that as you're trying to get this thing adjusted. And you know, these lifts, you know, they stay tight, but if you leave them for an hour, the engine will drift a half an inch or something. So it's not something that I want to get stuck and leave that thing overnight and come in the next morning and then the engine's like, you know, way into the car when it should be where it was originally floating. So this is kind of a one-day operation that I want to make happen, and it might go quick and it might not go quick. So I'm just setting myself up, giving myself as much time so it could be successful. And there's also a bolt holding on the transmission that I got to remove. So we're going to try to do that all today. right, so we got this whole area cleared and ready to go. So we're gonna work on that. Got this all taped back. Got our fuel lines out of the way. Got a little protection for our firewall, not much protection, but protection. And what I've done is I've made stations. So this is my grinding station for the back end. And then I'm also gonna grind the webbing for my engine mounts. And I have all the sockets ready, paintbrush, engine paint for that. This is for my spacers that I need to cut with all my sockets and everything going. And then this is everything that I need for doing my harmonic balancer, including some high temperature RTV, some degreaser, some oil to oil up the shaft, all the sockets I need. So that's ready to go. The only thing I gotta do now is I gotta get my hoist up, and I have a cutter over here that I borrowed from my neighbor Bob, and of course I got some stock pipe there. So if I need it, I gotta set that up, and then we are ready to go. we have clearance. There's a little extra lip in there that needs to go inside. And it doesn't look like a lot of clearance on this camera, which it's not, but it is clearance. 1/8 of an inch maybe. Well, I'm really happy. We got some great clearance. Everything looks really nice. We were able to bring the engine back a lot. We got the proper spacers in there, which is hard to see. We also have clearance of our bolt. So these are fully in with no spacers. And we got the harmonic balancer in, which is clearing the steering rack right there. And, you know, and the transmission is perfectly sitting dead on this line, which is perfect. So we're rocking and rolling here. So this has been, you know, coming for about 3-4 months, and it finally happened today. So I could move forward with a bunch of other stuff. Now we could double check that the drive system's going to fit. And, you know, I wasn't able to actually get the trans tunnel in place because we didn't know where the engine was going to be. And I didn't want to, you know, I'm having clearance issues with this shifter. So I had to get the engine in its final place before I could work on the trans tunnel. So it's like everything just, you know, depends on something else. So hopefully this is the final one, and I'll see you in another video. Have a great day.